This article is about the championship. For details on the tournament, see MLS Cup Playoffs. The MLS Cup is the championship match of Major League Soccer, the highest tier of professional soccer in the United States and Canada. As the final match of the MLS Cup Playoffs, the winner is crowned the season champion in the same manner as other North American sports leagues. The MLS Cup winner is awarded a berth in the following year's CONCACAF Champions League. On October 20, 1996, the league hosted its inaugural championship, MLS Cup 96. Today the MLS Cup is typically held in late November, featuring the winners of the Eastern Conference Championship and Western Conference Championship. During its history, the MLS Cup has been represented by three different trophies: the Alan I. Rothenberg Trophy from 1996 through 1998, a redesigned Alan I. Rothenberg Trophy from 1999 through 2007, and the Philip F. Anschutz Trophy since 2008. History: DC United and Los Angeles Galaxy have won the MLS Cup the most, with 4 league titles each. New England Revolution has been to the final the most times without winning, with 4 appearances, 3 of which were consecutive. DC United's early successes. The MLS Cup's roots trace back to the foundation of Major League Soccer, when the structural format was being assembled. The league decided to have a similar setup to its contemporary North American sports leagues, by creating a postseason tournament to culminate the regular season, which would be the determining factor in crowning the league champion. The name of the cup was to allude to the other cup finals that use similar titles for their championship matches. For the first few MLS Cup finals, the championship was dominated by DC United, who appeared in the first 4 MLS Cup finals, winning 3 of them. The inaugural MLS Cup 96 was the first MLS Cup championship match, featuring United and Los Angeles Galaxy. The inaugural match had the Galaxy take an early 1-0 lead, and double in early in the second half. However, their lead was relinquished towards the end of the match when Tony Sine pulled one back in the 72nd minute. 9 minutes later, Sean Medb tied the match at 2, resulting in extra time between the two sides. 4 minutes into extra time, Eddie Pope gave United the golden goal victory. In 1997, the second League Cup final was contested at RFK Stadium, where United won back-to-back titles, a feat that would not be accomplished for another decade. The game ended 2-1 in United's favor over Colorado Rapids, who would not win a championship until 2010. Jaime Moreno was declared man of the match for his goal in the 37th minute of play. This season was also the first time in league history any MLS team won the regular season and postseason title in the same season. DC United's run ended the third year, when they made an unprecedented third run to the MLS Cup Finals, only to lose to the expansion side Chicago Fire by a margin of 2-0. However, the following year, United repeated their double of winning both the Supporters' Shield and MLS Cup the same season. This time, it was a 2-0 win over the Galaxy in the 1999 MLS Cup Final. Rise of the California Classico: for the first time since 1997, the 2000 MLS Cup Final saw a new club reach the finals along with the Fire. This time the Kansas City Wizards won their first MLS Cup with a 1-0 victory over the Fire. From 2001 through 2004, the MLS Cup Finals saw a rising of the California Classico when stateside rivals, LA Galaxy and San Jose Earthquakes clashed together in the 2001 final. The match also saw the rise of U.S. national Landon Donovan, who won a Newcomer of the Year award and tallied the equalizer in the Earthquakes' 2-1 championship victory over the Galaxy. Additionally, the win prevented the Galaxy from an MLS title for the third time in their history. With the largest crowd in MLS Cup history at hand, the New England Revolution took on the Galaxy in the 2002 finals. For the match, over 61,000 fans were in attendance at Gillette Stadium to witness the final. In the second period of sudden death extra time, the Galaxy nabbed their first MLS Cup title, and sparked the start of a string of MLS Cup losses for the Revolution. The 2003 final saw the league leaders for that season go head-to-head. Two clubs that had MLS Cup experience, The Fire and Earthquakes, played for the final that year. The two clubs had successful regular season campaigns, with the Fire winning their first ever Supporters' Shield, and the Earthquakes being the Western Conference regular season and postseason champions, as well as having the second best overall regular season record. In a hotly contested match, the Earthquakes won with their second MLS Cup title with a 4-2 score, making it the highest scoring MLS Cup final in league history. After a 4-year absence, United made their fifth trip to the MLS Cup final, playing against the Wizards for MLS Cup 2004. The match had 4 goals scored in the first 25 minutes, with United rallying for a 3-1 lead. Midway through the second half, United had relinquished a penalty kick. Josh Wolf scored for Kansas City, bringing the game within a goal. DC United was able to retain the lead, by winning their fourth MLS Cup title, by a score of 3-2. Format changes. Until 2005, the MLS Cup Championship games had been dominated by clubs that had either won or had come close to winning the Supporters' Shield. In the 2005 MLS Cup Championship, the match was won by the Los Angeles Galaxy, who won the league title by having a 9th-place overall record. Consequently, the Wizards had a better record, but did not qualify for the playoffs because they finished 5th in the Eastern Conference, in spite of an 8th-place overall record. The result prompted MLS to create new wildcards that were used starting in 2006, where only a certain number of clubs per conference could qualify, and the next best overall teams regardless of conference would also qualify. That in itself prompted debates about the league switching to a single table and a balanced schedule. The single table has yet been instituted, but in 2010 the league instituted a balanced schedule. Scudetto. At the start of the 2006 season, MLS created their version of the Scudetto, a symbol worn in the jersey by the team who won the previous season's Serie A. The MLS Scudetto was originally a curved, triangular badge featuring a backdrop of the American flag behind a replica of the Al-Ani Rothenburg MLS Cup trophy. First worn by Los Angeles Galaxy in 2006, following their 2005 MLS Cup title, the Houston Dynamo wore the same triangular Scudettos in 2007 and 2008 during their dual cup run. It was redesigned after the 2008 season after the change to the MLS Cup trophy. It is now an oval-shaped black badge with a Philip F. Anschutz trophy in the middle. The Mills Scudetto is worn by the winning team this season following the victory. It is only during the subsequent season that the team adds a star, a common soccer signifier of titles won, above the team logo. The team can display the star on other items beside their jersey in the year after winning the cup, but only if the Scudetto is not shown. The Columbus Crew was the first team to wear the redesigned Scudetto. After the 2012 season, MLS decided not to use the Scudetto for upcoming season, and instead the defending MLS Cup champions would have a gold star above one or more silver stars, indication the team's MLS Cup wins, followed by an additional silver star added to the line stars the following season. The Los Angeles Galaxy were the first to receive the gold star above the team's 3 silver stars for the 2013 season. Buffalo Bills of MLS. Whilst the Galaxy earned their second MLS Cup trophy and the Houston Dynamo earned consecutive cups, the New England Revolution went on a run of making 3 consecutive MLS Cup finals, losing all of them. Each of their 3 losses were in extra time, while the other was lost on penalty kicks. The infamy gave the club the title of being the Buffalo Bills of MLS. This was in reference to the Buffalo Bills' Super Bowl runs in the early 1990s, and they lost in every single appearance. In the 2005 final, they lost to the Los Angeles Galaxy, a rematch of 2002, in the final. Held at Pizza Hut Park in Frisco, Texas, the Galaxy defeated the Revolution by a score of 1-0 thanks to a 105th-minute extra-time goal from Galaxy midfielder and Guatemalan international, Guillermo Ramirez. Ramirez's goal sealed the Galaxy's second MLS Cup title, and left the refs searching once again. In 2006, the championship was once again played in Frisco at Pizza Hut Park. This time the Revolution took on the Houston Dynamo. Both were coming off a successful season, in which they fell short of winning the Supporters' Shield. A sellout crowd of 22,427 attended the match, which is to date the largest crowd in the stadium's history. Revolution forward Taylor Twellman scored an extra-time goal in the 113th minute to give the Revolution the 1-0 lead. However, Dynamo captain and forward Brian Ching immediately tied the score following the Revolution's goal. The match went to penalties, in which the Dynamo won for €3. This left the Revolution for a second consecutive year searching for league glory. It was also the first time in league history that a club made the MLS Cup final and lost consecutively. In the 2007 final, the Revolution and Dynamo played each other once again for the 2007 Cup. Played in Washington, D.C. At RFK Stadium, a crowd just shy of 40,000 witnessed the championship. The announced crowd of 39,859 made it the largest MLS Cup crowd since 2002. The Revolution had a successful season, earning their first U.S. Open Cup title. The Revolution wanted their first ever MLS Cup crown, and wanted to win their first ever double in club history. Houston, finishing just shy once again to DC United of winning the MLS Supporters' Shield, were determined to finish their second season with some hardware, and to defend their MLS Cup title. The match went in the Revolution's favor early on, as the Revolution's captain, Twellman, netted in the 20th minute to give New England a 1-0 lead. However, midway through the second half, the Dynamo retaliated. Dynamo striker Joseph Nwemia leveled things at 1 apiece in the 61st minute, and MLS Cup man of the match, Dwayne De Rosario, gave the Dynamo a 2-1 lead in the 74th. The goal also proved to be the winning goal, as the Dynamo earned the first back-to-back MLS Cup titles since DC United in 1996 and 1997. Underdogs earning the cup. Early in the 2008 Major League Soccer season, the league announced that the championship would be returning to the Home Depot Center. Throughout the regular season, the league was dominated by Columbus Crew, who finished the season with 57 points, and secured the Supporters' Shield title with 3 matches remaining before the 2008 MLS Cup Playoffs. Traditionally, the Shield winners only rarely made it to the league championship, in spite of usually being the heavy favorites going into the playoffs. However, for the first time in 8 years, a regular season champion made it to the MLS Cup final. The Siergi Schmid-led club made their first ever run to the championship, along with their opponents the New York Red Bulls. For the Crew, being the Shield winners, their run to the final was a bit expected. The Red Bulls making the final was seen as a large surprise, possibly even a fluke. The Red Bulls did not qualify for the playoffs until the last day of the season, where they were the weakest team, in terms of regular season record, to qualify for the playoffs. The match ended up being dominated by the Crew as Columbus defeated New York with ease, 3-1. The point gap between the two clubs was the largest in history, and the scoreline between the two clubs made it tied for the largest margin of victory in MLS Cup history. New York's run to the finals was further emphasized as a fluke when the club had the worst record in 2009. The following championship saw 2 intra-conference clubs meet in the final for the second consecutive year. The Western Conference regular season and postseason champions, Los Angeles Galaxy, took on Real Salt Lake, who finished 5th in the West. Held in Seattle's Kest Field, the Sounders FC management originally planned on capping the total available seat size to 35,700. Because of surging demand, an additional 10,000 seats were opened, expanding the total capacity to roughly 45,700, though the announced crowd was 46,011. The crowd size was the first championship crowd since 2002 to draw over 45,000 spectators. Televised on ESPN, it was the first time that the MLS Championship match was televised on the cable network after the first 13 were carried on ABC. In the 41st minute, Galaxy striker Mike McGee scored, only for Salt Lake's Robbie Findlay to tie it in the 61st. The stalemate was not broken in regulation nor extra time, requiring penalty kicks to decide the match. Thanks to a strike from Salt Lake's Robbie Russell, Salt Lake won their first major trophy. By winning the championship, they gained entry into the 2010 Euro 11 CONCACAF Champions League. There, they made it to the final, only to lose to Monterrey of Mexico. At the 2010 season's end, 6 teams from the Western Conference qualified for the playoffs, whereas only 2 clubs from the East qualified, making it the largest disparity between the two conferences in league history. Because of the league's seeding at the time, in which the conference winners and the top seeds, the 2 weakest Western Conference teams, San Jose Earthquakes and Colorado Rapids, were seeded against the Eastern Conference champion, New York Red Bulls, and runner-up Columbus Crew, respectively. Some cited this as an unfair advantage for the Rapids and Earthquakes, as both teams made the semi-finals. In the end, the Rapids played FC Dallas for MLS Cup 2010, winning 2-1 in extra time. Higher seeds hosting the Cup. On May 10, 2011, the league announced that MLS Cup 2011 would be at Los Angeles' Home Depot Center, making it the 4th time in MLS history the venue would host the championship. On November 19, the day before the 2011 final, MLS announced that future finals would be held at the home field of the team with more regular season points. Format. Over the history of the MLS Cup playoffs, numerous formats have been used. At the 2008 season's end, the top 3 teams of each conference made the playoffs. In addition, the clubs with the next 2 highest point totals, regardless of conference, were added to the playoffs. In the first round of this knockout tournament, aggregate goals over 2 matches determined the winners. The conference championships were 1 match each, with the winner of each conference advancing to MLS Cup. In all rounds, the tie-breaking method was 2 15-minute periods of extra time, followed by penalty kicks if necessary. The away goals rule was not used. At the 2009 and 2010 season's end, the top 2 teams of each conference made the playoffs. In addition, the clubs with the next 4 highest point totals, regardless of conference, were added to the playoffs. In the first round of this knockout tournament, aggregate goals over 2 matches determined the winners. The conference championships were 1 match each, with the winner of each conference advancing to MLS Cup. In all rounds, the tie-breaking method was 2 15-minute periods of extra time, followed by penalty kicks if necessary. The away goals rule was not used. The format for the 2011 playoffs was announced on February 23, 2011. The top 3 clubs in each of the league's 2 conferences earned the 6 automatic spots in the quarter-finals. The wild card entrants, seeded 7th through 10th, entered based upon their overall position in a single table of the league's standings. The new format was assembled so that the weakest seed to qualify out of the wild card rounds had to play the Supporters' Shield winner. The other entrant played the conference champion that did not win the Shield. The play-ins proper were single matches, with the higher-seeded club playing at their home field. The quarterfinals, or the conference semi-finals, were 2-leg aggregate series. The semi-final fixtures, or the conference championships, were single matches at the field of the higher seed. The cup final was at a predetermined venue. Starting with the 2012 season, the playoff structure were further tweaked. While the number of playoff teams remained at 10, the wild cards disappeared. Instead, the top 5 teams in each conference qualified. The number 4 seed in each conference hosted the number 5 seed in a single match for a place in the conference semi-finals against the top seed in its conference. The conference semi-finals remained 2-legged while the conference finals changed from a single match to a 2-leg aggregate series. Finally, the MLS Cup final was held at the home field of the finalist with the highest point total during the regular season. Venues. In MLS Cup history, 6 matches have been played in the greater Los Angeles area. The next closest is the Washington, D.C. metro area, which has hosted 3 finals, all of which have been played at RFK Stadium. Through the 2011 season, every MLS Cup had been played at a predetermined site. On the day before the 2011 Cup, MLS announced that starting in 2012, Cup finals will be hosted by the participant with the highest point total during the regular season. Only 5 times in league history has a club played in the championship in their home stadium, 3 of which were a virtue of coincidence. In the 1997 MLS Cup Final, DC United won the match in their home stadium over Colorado Rapids, RFK Stadium. The same occurrence applied in the 2002 MLS Cup Final, where the Los Angeles Galaxy defeated the New England Revolution 1-0, in the Revolution's home stadium Gillette Stadium. As a result, the 1997 and 2002 MLS Cup Finals have drawn the largest crowds in MLS Cup history. In 2011, the LA Galaxy won their 2011 MLS Cup match in their home stadium, 1-0, over the Houston Dynamo. The Galaxy became the second team to win the Cup at home. The same 2 teams met again the next year in the 2012 MLS Cup at the same site, and the Galaxy successfully defended the title, 3-1. In 2013, Sporting Kansas City became the third team to win the Cup in their home stadium, when they beat Real Salt Lake in the penalty kicks, which was the longest shootout in MLS Cup history. Through the 2011 season, MLS typically announced the championship location either prior to the start of its respective season, or even a few weeks into the campaign. For the 2011 championship, the league selected the Home Depot Center in Carson, California, making it an unprecedented 4th time the league's championship has been hosted at the venue. To date, the coldest MLS Cup Final, which is also coldest MLS match to date, was the 2013 championship game played in Kansas City, Kansas at Sporting Kansas City's Sporting Park where the temperature was 20°F. The hottest MLS Cup Final was the 2005 championship game played in Frisco, Texas at FC Dallas's Pizza Hut Park where the temperature was 75°F. The 2010 edition of the MLS Cup was the first final in league history to be played outside of the United States. The match was played in Canada at Toronto's BMO Field, the home ground of MLS club Toronto FC. Stadiums. Italics indicate a stadium that is now inactive. Trophies. Culminating the championship, the winning team is presented with a trophy, known as the Philip F. Anschutz Trophy, named for his contributions and investment to American soccer and MLS. Typically, the award presentation is held on a podium in the center of the field, where the league commissioner will award the team with the cup. Before the actual award presentation, the finalists are awarded with silver medals with the league's logo imprinted on them. The champions are then presented with gold medals, before the trophy is handed to the winning team's captain. In Cup history, the MLS Cup champions have been awarded with 3 different trophies. For the first 3 MLS Cup finals, the winning team was awarded with the Alan I. Rothenberg Trophy, named for Rothenberg's contributions to American soccer. The Rothenberg Trophy was a dark gold trophy that had 2 handles around a soccer ball, with the league's logo imprinted on the plaque. In 1999, the Rothenberg Trophy was redesigned with a soccer ball placed on a beacon. In 2008, the trophy was redesigned again to its present state and renamed the Philip F. Anschutz Trophy. Champions. The winner of Major League Soccer's MLS Cup, the final match of the MLS Cup Playoffs, determines that season's league champion. The playoff tournament is organized by the league at the conclusion of the regular season in a format similar to other North American professional sports leagues. The tournament is open to the top 5 clubs of the Eastern and Western Conference. The first MLS Cup final was played on October 20, 1996. As of 2012, the record for the most championships is held by DC United and the Los Angeles Galaxy, with 4 cup titles each. The championship has been won by the same team in 2 or more consecutive years on 3 occasions. The cup is held by Sporting Kansas City, who defeated Real Salt Lake in the 2013 final. Results, key, records and statistics. Mills Cup titles, MLS Cup finalists. Records in CONCACAF competition. Since the league's inception, the MLS Cup champions and runners-up have earned berths into the CONCACAF Champions League. Key, QR1 equals qualification first round, Prairie equals preliminary round, GS equals group stage, R16 equals round of 16, QF equals quarterfinals, SF equals semi-finals or consolation match, F equals final, man of the match MVP award. Following each championship, a player on the winning club is awarded with the title of being the man of the match, or the most valuable player. Usually, but not necessarily, the winner of the award is usually the player who scores the game-winning goal, or sets up the game-winning goal. This is the case of the 2010, 2008 and 2007 recipients, who all scored game-winning goals, or assisted several goals for the winning side. An exception to this is in the 2009 championship, where the man of the match went to Real Salt Lake goalkeeper, Nick Rimando, who made 2 saves in the penalty kick shootout to give Salt Lake the league title over Los Angeles Galaxy. The only other goalkeeper in MLS Cup history to earn MVP honors was Tony Meola of Kansas City Wizards, who earned a shutout over Chicago Fire in the 2000 championship. List of MVP award recipients, players with multiple Mills Cup titles. At least 39 players have won 2 MLS Cups, mostly for teams with sequential or near-sequential titles. Players who have won 2 cups with 2 different teams include Joseph Nguyen, Brandon Prido, Frankie Hedjuk, Brian Carroll, Ned Grabavoy, and Nick Rimando. See also, MLS Cup Playoffs, Supporters Shield, the club with the best regular season record, MLS Rivalry Cups, Lamar Hunt US Open Cup, the oldest ongoing soccer tournament in the United States, dating back to 1914. Canadian Championship, CONCACAF Champions League, List of MLS Cup broadcasters, List of MLS Cup champions, List of MLS club post-season droughts, List of MLS Cup referees, List of MLS Cup winning head coaches, Soccer Bowl, the championship match of the North American Soccer League. Footnotes: until 2003, MLS Cup utilized sudden death, or golden goal overtime, that is the match ended if a goal was scored at any point in overtime. Beginning in 2004, a 30-0 overtime is played in full. If the match is still tied, it is decided by a penalty kick shootout. Be a sellout crowd. See, although Real Salt Lake and Colorado Rapids are Western Conference clubs, they qualified to the MLS Cup final through the Eastern Conference bracket, and vice versa for the New York Red Bulls. Notes and references, General, Dieu, Bo. Long-range goals, the success story of Major League Soccer. Potomac Books. ISBN A978-1-59797-509-4. References